In today's tutorial, let's do this hat together. This is called the 5-Star Beanie, and this is featuring the star cluster stitch that you see right in the body of the hat. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to be working on this 5-Star Beanie together. We're going to be covering how to do the brim and then how to do the body of this. This is a lot more simpler than I expected. The pattern really intimidated me, but this is one of those patterns that is a gem in the box. Really amazing. If you love the star stitch, this is exactly what you see. It's called star clusters, and so there's a star cluster row and then a single crochet, star cluster, and a single crochet. And we always do, when it comes to decreasing near the top, it's in the single crochet round, so therefore the stars always line up perfectly together, and it's really quite amazing. So I know what people are going to think about this brim here, and it's slip stitching to create it, and a lot of people get really frustrated with that particular stitch, but it looks like it's knitting. Now if this is struggling for you with the Caron Simply Soft, what I decided to do today is use Bernat Super Value. The yarn holds itself together a lot more easier, and the plies don't separate as easily as they do with the Super Soft. And the reason why they separate is that the Super Soft is a premium acrylic where the Super Value is a value acrylic, and so the value tends to stick together a lot more better because it is a value. So the higher the premium of acrylic, the more the plies separate, but it's a higher value of yarn and it has a lot more color shades and available. So whatever you decide to use, whether it's the Caron Simply Soft or the Bernat Super Value, you cannot go wrong with this pattern. So without further ado, let's talk about the brim and get you started on that, and then we'll go through the body of this in today's tutorial. Let's start off with the ribbing, and the ribbing is actually not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of time. This is done with slip stitching in every row, and because of that it makes it nice and dense. It makes it thick as well, so it goes right over the ears of the person wearing it. So it's a really kind of an easy concept in order to follow. So let's review how to do this first, and then we'll get you to do that, and then we'll meet back up, and then we'll start doing the star stitch area of the hat. So I'm going to leave an extra long string and I'm going to start, and to do this we need the smaller size hook, a size H, a 5mm, and we need to chain 13 to start with. So let's do that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I got 13 on here. See how long that is? That is the ribbing. It's not going to stay that long though. The way that we're about to do this, it's going to cause it to shrink, and I'll show you how to do this right after this. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go second chain from the hook. So we go 1 and 2, turn it over and get the back loop only, and insert in, yarn over, and pull through and through. We're going to slip stitch our way all across the back loop of the chain, and you want to make sure when you slip stitch that you're not too tense, so don't be fighting with anybody, and you just want to glide your hook in and pull the yarn through without any tension coming from that ball. The more tension you put and the tighter that you make this, the harder it is as you go out through it, this ribbing effect. And you're going to notice that that long string that I just started with is going to get a lot smaller because the slip stitching will compact everything into position. So you're gonna go all the way to the end of your first chain. The biggest thing that I notice with these brims, you got to make sure you're watching your stitch count. So if you ever miss a stitch somewhere, it's gonna be noticeable because by the time you get your 18 inches done for the ribbing, you might actually have a large triangle. So you come all the way to the end and you should turn your work. So I'm going to show you how to turn the work so it's easier so that you can start the next part. Whenever you start another row, don't ever turn your work like this so that this string comes and sees it from the front, because it'll be virtually impossible to do the next part. So whenever you turn your work, just rotate it so that it's just coming out and sweeping out in front of you, and just chain 1 first. And starting in this very first stitch, okay, it's the back loop only, so just going in. So if you're new to crochet, there's a stitch is always made up of 2 strings. Together they make a stitch. The front string, when it's facing you, is considered the front loop, and the one on the far side is the back loop. So we're gonna come into the back loop only, and we're going to slip stitch ourselves, and we're going to slip stitch in the back loops all the way down the row. So this is all you need to do for the brim. So the biggest key element here is to make sure you get the right string. I'm going to show you a little something right now. I'm not perfect, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. So what's gonna happen here is a brim that I did and I screwed up. Do you see where I screwed up? So sometimes maybe I was watching TV or something, I missed one of the strings, or I grabbed an extra string, and you can literally see that in your project when something's not quite right. So you wanna make sure that when you're doing this, that's probably the same one, but oh, there's another one right there. So you wanna be careful with this, is that you're grabbing the right strings. The effect is really quite stunning. It's well worth the time. It's going to take you a while to do the entire 18 inches, but it's worth it. And don't deny yourself the pleasure of this, because it's gonna be doubling up the thickness. You're gonna have the beautiful elasticity of the ribbing that you want, and there's no denying about it. It's gonna be fabulous. So what I want you to do is make your ribbing this 18 inches long, and then when we come back I'll have that done. So I'm gonna put on a pot of tea, and I'm gonna relax and make sure you get right to the end, and then once you're to the end, chain 1 first, and then go. See how I just dived right into the next one, and I just turned it. Okay, so just take your time, and when I come back I will have the 18 inches done, and then I will show you what to do, and we'll begin the hat process for making the stars, and I think you'll really love it. So I'll meet you after this, and I'll see you in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm back, and I did my 18 inches. It took me about an hour and a half to do this. Now do you notice I don't have it stretched? I laid it down on the tape measure without stretching it, because it has quite a bit of stretch, but unstretched it's 18 inches as prescribed. So what we want to do is that we want to join the end to each other. So we don't fasten off, we don't use any sewing needles at this point, and all we're just gonna do is just fold it over, and we're going to slip stitch into the foundation chain that we had started with. Now remember that there is 12 stitches, so just give those a quick count as you go across, just inserting into the back loop on the first one, and then you're going into the foundation stitch of the next one across, and you're just slip stitching, and this will keep it looking in balance as you go. So this is how you'll do that part, so just continue to do that, and then I'll see you back, and we're gonna start doing the star clusters next. So I've now just done my slip stitching. I now have my brim just like so. So it's really quite neat, and I am done with the 5mm size H crochet hook. Now it's time to move up. So I'm just gonna pull this out and insert a larger hook in, and the larger hook was a size I, a 5.5mm hook. So we have a nice tight tension here, and now we're gonna loosen it off a little bit with using a bigger size hook. So what we need to do for the very first round is that we need to chain 1, and we need to equally space 71 single crochets around the top of this brim. 71 is critical. Okay, so do not get any other number, but keep it to 71. So now we have to just chain 1, and what I would recommend, don't grab just one strand that's on the top, go for 2. So just when you insert your hook, just make sure there's at least 2 strands to count as a stitch, and you have to get a total of 71 of these stitches all the way around. Now you might not have enough of these ribbing to create 71, so you might need to be creative and just put in a few extra here and there, just equally all the way around, so that you get your 71. So when you go to pull it apart, make sure there's at least 2 strands on the top of the hook, and therefore when it goes to be worn, that you don't have these ghastly holes in your project that you can actually see because you haven't gone into enough strands. So just continue to do that and get your 71 in there all the way around, and when we come back then we'll begin to do the clusters based on this. So 71 is your magic number, and let's begin to do that right after this. So I'm coming up all the way around, and some of these have 2 single crochets in top, and some of them are just singles. So I did it on my very first try, to be quite honest with you, and I got myself close to the start, so I'm just gonna join with the slip stitch, and so this is what it kind of looks like at this point. So this is all gonna balance off all the extra stitches that you had to put in if you didn't have enough space, and you don't need to worry about it at that point. Let's move along to the next row. We're gonna start our first round of the cluster, and here we go. We're gonna start by chaining 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So the way to do the cluster is that we have to play with this chain, we have to play with where we slip stitched the starting, and then we have to advance 2 more. So here's how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna go second chain from the hook, okay, go into the back loop only, just go in, yarn over, pull through. You're gonna come into the next chain, So going right in, yarn over, pull through. You now have 3 loops. You're looking for a total of 6. You're gonna come into where you did the slip stitch, yarn over, pull through. There's your 4, and now you're going to advance 2 more single crochets. So yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. You now have your 6, and I'm going to show this again, so don't worry about it if you're not catching on. So yarn over, pull through all 6, and then yarn over and lock it in with a chain. So let's begin your next one. So in the next one we don't have the chains to worry about, but we have this side of the clusters to work on. So we're gonna play right directly in the center first. So go right into the center, yarn over, pull through. Now you can see that there's like spokes on the star. Okay, we're gonna come in between the first and the last one, just right directly through the work, yarn over, pull through. You're going to come into the next stitch that is already occupied by the last star. So yarn over, pull through, and now you're going to advance 2 more empty stitches. So yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through, and now you have your 6 again. So yarn over, pull through all 6, chain to lock. Let me show that again. So the next one is right into the center of the star, yarn over, pull through. The next one is right in between the first and the second, yarn over, pull through. The next one is in where the last star is already sitting in, and now we advance 2 more empty single crochets. Okay, so yarn over, pull through all 6, yarn over, and lock. I'll show it again. So into the center, into the first, in between the first and the second spoke, into the next one that's already occupied by the last star, and now we advance 2 more empty single crochets. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and then yarn over to lock. And I want you to continue to do that all the way around. So I'm coming up all the way back around, and I'm just finishing off the last one. So just coming into the last. Actually I thought this was gonna take longer to go around than I did, and I'm really quite happy that it's not. So coming up all the way around and finishing the last star, I gotta chain 1 first, and then I just join to the top of the second stitch, or the second chain, and that concludes that round, just like so. So what I want to do then is that I want to start up with the next row. Now if you notice in the pattern, all the star clusters do not sit directly over top of each other. So the center point of this one is never gonna line up with the center point of the next one. It's gonna be offset. So when we go to start these next rows, the next one is just single crochet, and single crochet appears every other row. So we just chain 1 first, and we come into the very first one that's leaning over, and we single crochet, and then the next one is at the middle of the star, just like this. Okay, so the next one is just lying on top, and then the next one is the middle. Okay, the next one is just lying on top, and the next one is the middle. So please continue to do that all the way around for this round, and then I'll show you how to get started on the star cluster again, and then we will let you go and just finish off this section, and then we're gonna start the decreasing then after that. Okay, so single crochet around. Okay, coming up all the way back around, and the last stitch was gonna be the center of this cluster. Okay, so just don't go any further, because then you'll end up going too far. And then what I need you to do is slip stitch to the beginning single crochet. So we're going to start up then the next row, and this is what it looks like so far, and we're gonna start up the next row. It's just identical to what you've already done. So let's begin to do that next. To start the next row, remember it's chaining of 3. So 1, 2, 3 to get started, and then you are just gonna go to the second chain and go into the back loop only of the second chain. You know, getting started is always the hardest part of anything. And then we go to the next chain, we go to the slip stitching, and then we advance 2 more to get your 6. Okay, there's your 6, and then pull through all 6, yarn over to lock it with the chain, and then start the next one. So go right into the center, go between the first and the second post there, we go into the where the last one is occupied, and then we advance 2 more empty single crochets, yarn over, lock. Okay, so I've already shown you how to do that before. So what I need you to do is that we need to go to do this continuous section right now until we get to a certain height, and let me discuss that in just a moment. So now it's time to get their measurements that we need. So right now we have done the star cluster and then a single crochet, and then we're gonna continue to do a star cluster, single crochet, and we keep doing those 2 rows until you get to 6.5 inches. So just looking at where I am right now, so I'm going to have to do, it appears, 3 more inches at this time, and then we're gonna start doing the decrease then to bring this back in balance, and then it will get a lot quicker. So what I want you to do is continue the last 2 rows over and over and over until you get to your 6.5 inches that you can see from the start of the brim, and then we're gonna start doing the decreasing from that point. So here I am, and I've got my 6.5 inches from the bottom of the brim to where I am right now. Now before you continue to the next part of this tutorial, you need to make sure that you finish off with doing the star cluster as your last round before continuing. Now I did look ahead in this pattern, and as I was thinking about how am I gonna decrease such a pattern like this, and the decrease always happens in the single crochet revolutions. So every time we do the star stitching just like so, there's no decreasing at all. So there's really no brain power that you have to waste. For me, you know, that's a miracle in itself, but all the decreasing is actually in the single crochet rounds, and because of that we're gonna be able to work really quickly on this, and let's begin to do that. So make sure that you do finish off with the star cluster round first before carrying on, and we're going to start now doing the crown area, and we're gonna do the decrease, and we're just gonna go step by step for all 10 rounds. Okay, let's do round number 1 of decreasing for the crown. So round number 1 we're going to do a chain 1, so let's do that, and it says single crochet into the first single crochet, which I've just done, and now it says single crochet 2 together. So the next 2 are going to be together, which will be inside the center of a cluster, that one. So just wrap and pull through and hold, and then go into the next one, wrap and pull through and hold, and you have 3 loops on your hook, wrap and pull through all 3, and that's a single together 2 together, or single crochet 2 together. Okay, so now it says 1 single crochet in each of the 5, and then repeat from the asterisk. So in this round there's 5 single crochets in a row, so let's do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and now the next one is going to be single crochet 2 together. So the next one going in, pulling and hold, going into the next one, pulling in and hold, and yarn over and wrap and pull through all 3. So let's begin to do another again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 together again. So into the next one, and into the next one, and then 2 together. So please do that same rhythm all the way around. So 5 in a row, and then 2 together, 5 in a row, 2 together, and I'll meet you at the end of this round number 1 for decreasing for the crown. When you get all the way around, just slip stitch to the top of the beginning single crochet. So now you can kind of see that it's kind of just starting to kind of pull in a little bit. So let's move on to round number 2. So for the next rounds, number 2, 4, 6, and 8, do not include 10, are all the same. And so all the difference is that we have reduced the number of stitches, so therefore there's going to be less star clusters, so it's going to get faster and faster for you. So we're going to start the star cluster the same way. We're going to chain 3. Okay, so we chain 3, and then coming into the second one, the next one, the slip stitch. Okay, and so the next 2 that are empty, and you do the star as normal and pull through. Okay, so you can continue to do that. So the only difference is that there will be less stitches, and this will pull in a little bit tighter. So this is round number 2, and I'll meet you at the end of this and move you up to round number 3. So I'm finishing up round number 2 of decreasing of the crown, and I end up back to where I should. I have the right stitch counts because I don't have any more stitches to play with. I just want to lock it and then just seal it to the top, and then let's move up to round number 3. So round 3 we're going to do a decrease once again. So round number 3 we're going to start off with chaining 1, and then we single crochet into the first one. So the next one will be single crochet 2 together, and then for this entire round, which I don't need to film too long, but it's just going to be 4 in a row this time instead of 5. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the next 2 are together. Okay, so again 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the next 2 are together. Okay, that's how you have to do this one. This is round number 3. So now just come all the way back around. I want to slip stitch to the top of the beginning single crochet. Let's move up to round number 4. Round 4 is exactly what we've already done in round number 2 because it is an even number. So 2, 4, 6 and 8 are all the same. So we chain up 3 and we begin to star cluster again all the way around. The only difference this time, there's even less stitches because we've decreased in round number 3. So round 4, please do your star clusters once again and go all the way around in the same fashion, and I'll meet you at the end of this rotation. Just finishing up round number 4 of decreasing the crown, and I'm getting that last star cluster done, and then just slip stitch it to the top of the beginning, or sorry, the second one in. Okay, so let's go on. We are going to round number 5. This is what it looks like at this point. Let me just pull it out. Let's flatten it. You can really kind of see that the top is now coming out just like this. So let's begin, and we're going to move up to round number 5. So round number 5, we're going to do a decrease once again. So let's just chain up 1, single crochet into the first one, and this time we are going to do single crochet 2 together for the next one, and there is going to be 3 stitches. So the next 3 are by themselves. So 1, 2 and 3, and then the next 2 are together. Okay, so this time it's 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then the next 2 are together. Please do that all the way around. This is round number 5. So I'm coming up all the way around already pretty quick. And let's just slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet, and that was round number 5. Let's move up to round number 6 next. 6 is identical to the star, to what we already know, so we're chaining up 3 and begin your star clusters once again all the way around for round number 6. I'll meet you at the end of this round, and we'll move up to round number 7 together. I'm coming all the way back around. This is round number 6, and we're going to move up to round number 7 next. And let's just slip stitch and begin round number 7. So there's hardly anything left as far as the opening. It's almost done. So round number 7 is very simple. Chain 1, single crochet into the first one. So this time around it's going to be 2 single crochets in a row. So 1 and 2, and then the next 2 are together like so, and then 1 and 2, and the next 2 are together. That's round number 7, and please do that all the way around. Okay, I'm finishing up round number 7. That was really quick. Slip stitch to the top of the beginning single crochet. Number 8 is the star stitch once again, so please do that. So just chain up your 3 and begin your star clusters, and cluster yourself all the way around. And I'll meet you at the end of this revolution, and then we'll move up to round number 9 together. So I'm coming up all the way back around, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of the beginning, and that was a cluster round. So now we have only 2 more rounds to go. This is round number 9. 9 is very easy. We're just going to chain 1, single crochet into the first one, and then what it says is 2 together is in the next, and then a repeat around. So everything in this one is 2 together. So there's no spaces. We're really kind of giving conclusion for this. So just 2 together all the way around for round number 9. Okay, I'm coming all the way back around, just slip stitch to the top of the beginning, and now let's do the final round. And you could just have a little hole now, and we are going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet ourselves into single crochet 3 together. So we're just gonna come in and we're gonna do 3 in a row. So we're just keep going and going and keep gathering, and now you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Just yarn over and pull through all 3, and you continue to do that. So the next 3 are going to be together all the way around. And what we're going to do once we get all the way back, which is only just a few seconds from now, we're just gonna use a long string that is still left on your hook, and what we're going to do is that we're just gonna use that string to pull everything nice and tight together on the top. So just go all the way around, 3 together. Okay, so I'm all the way back around. I've got just a tiny little hole. Just leave an extra long string on this, and what we're going to do is that we're just gonna put this this in a darning needle. So just yarn over, pull through, and there's just a small little hole. Okay, it's just very tiny. Okay, and we're going to put a darning needle through onto this project. Okay, my darning needle is now on, so all I want to do is just go into the stitches right on the top and just go right across the where the hole is and just bring it to a conclusion. So just go in a few times in different directions just to bring that hole nice and tight and closed. Now we are going to install a pom-pom onto this, which will take 2 seconds, and we just want to have a nice finished off top piece like this. So what I'm gonna just do is tie a quick knot on here. The pom-pom is gonna sit over top of it anyway, and what I want to do is that I want to make sure the straggler or the loose end is gonna go on the inside of the hat. So just feed it inside the hat. Just don't poke yourself. Just opening it up and just push it into the middle. Okay. And what I have here is that it's coming in here, and I just want to be able to trim it off. So actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to secure this in the inside as well. So I'm just going to just make sure that it doesn't ever pop out. So I just want to go in behind some stitches. If you go in 3 directions at one time, it will never fall out on you. So just go into different fibers, and then this will never fall out. Nothing's worse than having a tail fall out, especially on your head. Okay, so let's secure the pom-pom next. Yeah. So here's what the hat looks like without any pom-pom on it. It almost kind of reminds me of a beehive in many ways. It has very elastic brim on it, and it looks amazing actually. And the way that they had us do the decrease, it looks absolutely perfect. Now the stitch, the seam line there, okay, I'm a trained professional, but it is a little bit obvious that it's there, but it's not screaming at you. Nothing's worse than wearing a hat and having a seam line scream. So that's pretty good. So let's begin to get your pom-pom. So these are by Bernat, and these are, look at the size of this. Yes, and it's nice and fuzzy. It's a secure base. It's like filled with something. And what we want to do is that we want to use these strings that are on the pom-pom. Okay, there's 2 of them. So what I want to do is that I want to use my crochet hook. I'm going to use the smaller one of the 2, and I'm going to feed that in. So I'm just gonna put the hook on the inside, and I just want to come out near the top, not right into the top piece, but just into some fibers. Okay, and I want to get as close as I can to the center. It's almost hard to tell which one is the center. There it is right there. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab only 1 strand of the 2, and I want to pull that through. Okay, there's 1. Okay, I'm just using my hand at this point, and now I'm just gonna leave that and just rotate the hat and just go in again on the other side of the center. Just gotta be very careful here. The angle in which I'm working is not really fun for me at this moment, but I'm gonna pull that through. So both of those strands should be through the center if I'm really careful about it. Let me just take a quick look. Yeah, there they are. Okay, so I got both of the strands in the middle, and I'm just gonna pull this like this. Okay, so what I want to do is that on the inside of the hat I want to tie this strand into a knot. Just like that. And I'm just gonna do a couple extra knots just to, nothing's worse than your pom-pom falling off. Okay, so now that it's tied, I'm happy with that. I can just trim that, and now I have a hat with the pom-pom on the top just like this. So this is how you would do this hat. This is called the 5-Star Beanie, a really kind of a fun pattern. It was really neat, and now you have a great hat to wear for the winter. Till next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of Yarnspirations as well as thecrochetcrowd.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time for more free patterns and ideas. Bye bye.